What's up, guys? This is Bolt Struck with Duck, and just when it was time for some uncomfortable conversations about Derwin James, he showed us why we all bought his jersey. So yeah, we are recapping the Chargers versus Falcons win from yesterday as of recording and posting this, and a win is a win, right? It's the try not to be unhappy challenge as a Charger fan is typically impossible. I said in my prediction video for the Falcons, only thing that matters for this game was to win. So they did it. So I'm going to be as positive as possible. Well, speaking of that, we'll get the negatives out of the way first. So negative number one, second half offense, non-existent like it has been. Kind of honestly, offense in general has been pretty non-existent, and it's just one of those things where it's like we knew this, right? When we got rid of our top two receivers. I don't think anyone expected Joshua Palmer to fall off this hard, but not picking anyone up, we knew this offense wouldn't have much juice. Um, and then a lot of people getting mad at Joe Ortiz for not grabbing someone in free agency or at the trade deadline. And I think he should have as well. But honestly, what this tells me is that they didn't think this team could compete like this. Because honestly, when you look at the roster, it's not that good compared to all the other contenders. But that's just the power of Jim Harbaugh. Like, I think even Jim Harbaugh underestimated Jim Harbaugh. If they thought they were going to be 8-4 at this point, I don't see why they wouldn't have traded for a receiver or picked up a receiver in free agency. I think it was just one of those things like they wanted to hold on to the draft picks, just assuming they weren't going to compete this year. And it's just like, again, a testament to Jim Harbaugh, but also just a bummer where it's like Chargers fans saw this coming from a mile away in terms of not having the juice, but I do think this team has well overproduced and over exceeded expectations. So it's one of those things where it's like you can and can't blame them. It's like I get what they were doing, but you want to compete every year, especially in a market like LA, especially in a division with the Chiefs. It's like every year, especially every year you have Justin Herbert, you should be trying to compete. Another negative is the O line is still horrible. Unfortunately for how good Joe Alt has been, once again, Chargers fans were probably correct. Again, at least in terms of this year. All of these like poor decisions to me break down to the Chargers organization not believing they were Super Bowl ready this year and setting up for the future. Which again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you don't want to continue wasting prime Justin Herbert years just like we did with Brandon Staley, where it's just like unfortunately even two elite tackles doesn't make a good O-line. But one elite wide receiver makes typically an elite passing game. Just look at Joe Burrow's career. Obviously, you could say injuries, but Joe Burrow has always been a little bit more injury prone than Justin Herbert. But just one of those things where it's like such a bummer using so much draft capital um, and still having a bad O line. Like they've been trying, Tom Telesco just obviously didn't do a good job with the interior of the O line, and then they couldn't have solved it in one draft. So pretty sucky, especially considering you probably heard on the broadcast all day long that the Falcons had the lowest sacks of any defense coming into the game and just killing our guys. And what makes it even harder is like Justin Herbert has been escaping the pocket, but then it's like our receivers can't even create separation after like 10 seconds. Like that one play where Justin Herbert broke out of the sack. Typically on plays like that the cornerbacks loosen up, they think it's a sack, or just with that long of time, it's like in man coverage especially, it's like I could get separation with that long in man coverage. It's like how are our receivers not? It was like Lad McConkey had what 8 or 9 receptions over 100 yards in the first half, and it's like our other first round draft pick and our other Josh Palmer and our other receivers had like 2 or 3 combined receptions. I mean, just crazy. All kind of ties back into the same thing where it's like next offseason. I know that doesn't help us now, but the bright side that I've been seeing Chargers fans talk about is this is the worst roster. So theoretically, the worst team of the Jim Harbaugh era. So that's something to look forward to. Now into one last negative. Got ahead of myself. Just been getting unlucky on fourth downs. That fourth down fake punt call was horrible by Jim Harbaugh, just straight up. I think he even admitted that. You don't do that when your defense is playing that well, and especially when it's 4th and 4. 4th and 1 from the 50, I get it. 4th and 4 from where you are, how good the defense has been playing. Like, because really the only times the defense was bad was they gave up that touchdown off of that fumble, which Falcons are in great field position. Other than that, I mean, trust your D. And then even going back into the Ravens game and then back into this game, just bad luck on fourth downs. Hopefully we start catching some breaks there. But so positives. Beat a team with a winning record. They were leading their division. Maybe not the best division, not the best playoff team, but everyone's been complaining, not beating enough teams with winning records, not beating enough playoff teams. There's one down. Essentially, one or two more wins will lock the Chargers in the playoffs. So you got the teams in the playoffs, and then you have what, like the Dolphins, the Colts, the Bengals lingering pretty far away. So really, two wins should lock them up. You could probably sneak in with one. So you got winnable games against the Raiders, the Patriots, the Buccaneers. Uh, Semi-winnable / I think we could win against the Broncos, and then we always play the Chiefs tough. So get two more wins. That's all I'm asking. In addition to that, defensive secondary was awesome. I mean, Tarheeb still was so good. He got randomly drug tested after the game. That is not a joke. Go look that up. And again, like I said in the intro, I have been saying to my friends and family and then contemplating making a video about Derwin. Just he probably up until this game hadn't had a big play in a year and a half. And then he has three in this game. A couple huge run stuffing stops, and then obviously the pick to seal the game, where it was just one of those things. Like, I get it. He's in the secondary. Sometimes no news is good news if your coverage is good. But that's not what he's getting paid for. He's getting paid well above market price for a position you're not supposed to play, to get the big plays, right? To get the huge sacks, to get the turnovers first and foremost. Our defense has been horrible on turnovers. That's the one area of complaint. And then of course this game, they pull up 4 turnovers, four interceptions, not even with Cam Hart playing, and Derwin has a huge game. So it's one of those things like, keep the ball rolling. Maybe they figured something out with him, but shout out to the defense. Because Kirk Cousins, regardless of what you think of him, he's not an interception thrower. This ties his career high in interception. So shout out to the defense. A win is a win. Let's get two more wins, and then I'll have a recap video for this coming game later this week. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for more Chargers content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.